Foundations of Strength. The wedding day. The story opens on a modest but joyful wedding ceremony. Diva, a dedicated nurse in her late 20s, stands beside Dr. Joel, her colleague and now husband. The ceremony is bittersweet. Beautiful flowers adorn the small chapel, but 2 chairs in the front row remain empty, reserved in memory of Diva's parents who passed away years earlier. As Diva exchanges vows, we see flashbacks of her childhood. Her mother braiding her hair before school, her father teaching her to ride a bicycle, family dinners filled with laughter. These memories fuel her determination to honor their legacy by building a strong, loving family of her own. The early marriage. The newlyweds settle into a small apartment near the hospital where they both work. Their schedules are demanding. Diva works the night shift in the emergency room while Joel completes his residency. Despite the exhaustion, they support each other. We see tender moments. Joel leaving notes in Diva's lunch bag, Diva massaging Joel's shoulders after a difficult surgery. But Diva is restless. She works double shifts, taking on extra responsibilities. When Joel gently suggests she rest more, she explains, "My parents sacrificed everything to give me opportunities. I can't waste a single one." The hospital family. At the hospital, Diva becomes known for her compassion and tireless work ethic. She bonds with Mrs. Chin, an elderly patient with no family, visiting her even on days off. She mentors Rosa, a young nursing student who reminds her of herself at that age. One night, during a particularly difficult emergency, a car accident with multiple casualties, Diva works seamlessly alongside Joel. As they save a young mother's life, something shifts between them. They're not just husband and wife, they're true partners. The memory box. On what would have been her mother's birthday, Diva takes Joel to her childhood home, now owned by distant relatives. In the attic, she finds a box of her parents' belongings. Her mother's nursing pin from the 1960s, her father's carpentry tools, letters they wrote to each other during their courtship, and a family photo album. That evening, sitting on their apartment floor surrounded by memories, Diva weeps in Joel's arms. "I want them to meet our children someday," she says. "I want to tell them about their grandparents." Joel holds her close. "Then we'll make sure their story lives on. Every story you tell, every value you pass down, that's how they'll meet." The unexpected gift. The discovery. 3 months later, Diva begins feeling unusually tired. At first, she attributes it to her demanding schedule. But when she faints during her shift, Joel insists she see a doctor. The news comes as a shock. She's pregnant. Diva's reaction is complex. Joy mingles with fear. She and Joel had planned to wait a few more years to be more financially stable. But as she places her hand on her stomach, she feels her mother's presence as if saying, "This is your time." The announcement. They decide to announce the pregnancy at the hospital during a staff celebration. The nursing team erupts in cheers. Mrs. Chen, still recovering but improving, cries tears of happiness. "I knew it," she says. "You have that glow." But that night, alone in their apartment, Diva's anxieties surface. What if I'm not ready? What if I can't give our child what my parents gave me? They had so much wisdom, so much strength. Joel takes her hands. "Diva, you are their wisdom and strength. Everything you are is because of what they gave you. Our child is already blessed." Continuing to work. Diva insists on continuing to work throughout her pregnancy. Against Joel's gentle protests, she maintains her full schedule, though she switches from night shifts to day shifts. "My mother worked until the day before she had me," she says with determination. Her pregnancy becomes a source of inspiration at the hospital. Younger nurses ask her advice. Patients smile at her growing belly. Rosa, her mentee, begins to see her as a mother figure. During a quiet moment in the hospital chapel, Diva talks to her parents. "I'm going to be a mother," she whispers. "I hope I can be half as good as you were. I'm naming him after both of you. Pieces of your names will live in his." This is when she decides that if it's a boy, she'll name him Wyrachel, a unique name that carries echoes of her family's heritage. The complications. At 7 months, during a particularly stressful shift, Diva experiences contractions. The hospital staff rushes her to the maternity ward. her colleagues now caring for her instead of working alongside her. The doctors managed to stop the premature labor, but Diva must go on bed rest. For a woman who has never stopped moving, this is torture. She lies in bed, feeling helpless, guilty about not contributing, worried about medical bills. Joel takes extra shifts to compensate. Rosa and the other nurses visit daily, bringing meals and laughter. Mrs. Chen, now discharged, comes by with homemade soup. "You spent months taking care of everyone else," she says. "Now let us take care of you." The birth of hope, the labor. 2 weeks before her due date, Diva's water breaks. Joel rushes her to the hospital where their colleagues transform from co-workers to caregivers. The delivery is long and difficult, 18 hours of labor. Throughout the ordeal, Diva keeps seeing her mother's face, hearing her voice. "You are stronger than you know." She thinks of all the women her mother helped bring into the world as a nurse, and now she's experiencing that sacred passage herself. Weirachel's arrival. At dawn, as sunlight streams through the hospital window, Weirachel is born. The moment they place him in Diva's arms, she dissolves into tears. He has her father's nose, her mother's delicate hands. "Hello, my beautiful boy," she whispers. "I'm your mama. And even though you can't see them, your grandparents are here too. They're always here." Joel kisses her forehead, tears streaming down his face. In this moment, all the exhaustion, all the sacrifice, all the grief transforms into pure love. The homecoming. The hospital staff throws them a surprise send-off. The hallways are decorated with blue balloons and a banner reading, "Congratulations, Diva and Joel." Mrs. Chen gifts them a hand-knitted blanket. Rosa presents a scrapbook she's been creating, filled with photos of Diva's pregnancy journey and messages from patients whose lives she's touched. As they drive home, Weirachel sleeping peacefully in his car seat, Diva looks at the sky. "Thank you," she mouths silently to her parents. The first night. That evening, in their small apartment that now feels like a palace, Diva sits in the rocking chair Joel assembled, nursing Weirachel. The room is lit by a single lamp, casting warm shadows on the walls. Joel brings her the memory box from the attic. Together, they look through the photos of her parents, showing them to Weirachel even though he's too young to understand. "This is your grandmother," Diva says softly. "She was a nurse just like me. She helped bring hundreds of babies into the world. She would have loved you so much." "And this is your grandfather," Joel adds. "He built things with his hands, strong, beautiful things that lasted. Just like the family he created. Growing together the first months." The film transitions through the challenging early months of parenthood. We see Diva and Joel navigating sleepless nights, learning to interpret Weirachel's different cries, celebrating his first smile. Diva struggles with the balance between being a mother and maintaining her identity as a nurse. One particularly difficult night, when Weirachel won't stop crying and she's exhausted beyond measure, she breaks down. "I don't know what I'm doing," she sobs to Joel. "My mother would have known exactly what to do." Joel rocks Weirachel, finally getting him to settle. "Your mother didn't know everything from day one either," he reminds her gently. "She learned just like you're learning. And look," he gestures to their sleeping son, "you're doing beautifully. Return to work." When Weirachel is 3 months old, Diva returns to work part-time. The transition is harder than she expected. She pumps breast milk in the supply closet, checks her phone constantly for updates from the babysitter, and feels torn in half. During her first week back, a teenage mother comes into the emergency room, overwhelmed and frightened with her newborn who has a high fever. As Diva cares for the baby and comforts the young mother, something clicks. She realizes she can use her experience as both a nurse and a new mother to help others in unique ways. "You're doing everything right," Diva tells the scared young woman. "Being worried means you care. Being here means you're strong. You're going to be an amazing mother." The young mother's eyes fill with tears. "How do you know?" "Because I see my own mother in you. I see myself in you. We're all just doing our best and that's enough." The support network. Mrs. Chen becomes an honorary grandmother to Weirachel. Despite her age and health issues, she insists on babysitting once a week, giving Diva and Joel a precious date night. She teaches Diva traditional lullabies from her homeland and shares wisdom from raising her own children decades ago. "Your parents would be so proud," Mrs. Chen tells Diva one afternoon, watching her expertly soothe Weirachel. "Not just of the nurse you became, but of the mother you are." Rosa, now more confident in her nursing skills, still seeks Diva's mentorship. But their relationship evolves. Rosa helps Diva prepare for her nursing board certification exam, watching Rachel while Diva studies. "You taught me that nurses support each other," Rosa says. "Now let me support you." The breakthrough moment. One evening, Diva discovers a letter in the memory box she hadn't seen before. It's from her mother to her father, written while her mother was pregnant with Diva. "My dearest love, I'm frightened. What if I can't be the mother our child deserves? What if I make mistakes? But then I remember, love is not about being perfect. It's about showing up, every single day and doing our best. Our child won't need perfection. Our child will need presence, dedication and love. And those things, my darling, we have in abundance." Diva clutches the letter to her chest, tears streaming down her face. Her mother had felt the same fears, the same doubts. And yet, she had been an extraordinary mother. That night, Diva writes her own letter to Rachel, to be opened when he becomes a parent someday. "My beautiful son, if you're reading this, you're about to experience the greatest joy and the deepest fear of your life. Know that I felt it too. Know that it's okay to be uncertain. Love doesn't require perfection, it requires presence. And you, my darling boy, have always had my whole heart. Financial struggles and triumphs. The reality of medical bills from the complicated delivery, childcare costs, and living on reduced income while Diva works part-time creates tension. Joel suggests Diva take more shifts, but she refuses to sacrifice time with Rachel. "My parents didn't work themselves to exhaustion just so I could miss my son's childhood," she says firmly. "We'll find another way." They make sacrifices. No more eating out, shopping at thrift stores, canceling streaming subscriptions. But they also find joy in simplicity. Picnics in the park instead of expensive restaurants, library story time instead of costly entertainment. Joel surprises Diva by building a bookshelf for Rachel's room using her father's old carpentry tools. "Your dad taught me," he says, though Diva knows her father passed before they met. "Through you. Through the stories you told me about him. I wanted Rachel to have something made with his grandfather's tools." Diva runs her fingers over the smooth wood, overwhelmed by the gesture. Her past and her present, her loss and her love, all coming together in this beautiful piece of furniture. Rachel's first milestones. The film shows a montage of Rachel's development. His first time sleeping through the night, his first laugh at Joel making silly faces, his first tooth, learning to roll over. Each milestone fills Diva with joy but also poignant sadness that her parents can't witness these moments. During Rachel's first Christmas, she places his photo on her parents' grave along with fresh flowers. "He's 6 months old now," she tells the headstones. "He has your strength, Mama. And your gentleness, Papa. I wish you could hold him. I wish he could know you the way I knew you. But I promise, I'll make sure he knows where he comes from." As snow begins to fall, Joel appears with Rachel bundled in his arms. The family stands together at the graves, 3 generations connected despite death's interruption. The turning point. When Rachel is 8 months old, the hospital offers Diva a promotion to head of nursing in the maternity ward. It's everything she's worked for: better pay, more influence, the ability to implement the compassionate care practices her mother believed in. But it would mean full-time hours again, less time with Rachel, more pressure and responsibility. Diva agonizes over the decision. She consults Mrs. Chen, who says, "Only you know what's right for your family." She talks to Rosa, who encourages her to take it. She discusses it endlessly with Joel, who supports whatever she decides. Finally, Diva realizes what she needs to do. She accepts the position, but negotiates for flexible hours and the ability to work from home 2 days a week for administrative tasks. It's not perfect, but it's a compromise that honors both her professional ambitions and her commitment to motherhood. "My mother always said that women shouldn't have to choose between career and family," Diva explains to the hospital administrator. "She believed we could do both if society would meet us halfway. I'm asking you to meet me halfway." The administrator agrees, impressed by Diva's negotiation and vision. "Your mother raised a strong woman," she says. "I'd be honored to have you lead our team." Legacy and New Beginnings, the celebration. On Rachel's first birthday, Diva and Joel throw a party at their apartment. It's crowded with the hospital family who has become their real family. Nurses, doctors, Mrs. Chen, Rosa, patients they've grown close to, and even the young mother Diva helped in the emergency room, now thriving with her healthy baby. As everyone sings happy birthday to Rachel, who gleefully smashes his cake, Diva feels overwhelmed with gratitude. She catches Joel's eye across the room and he mouths, "You did it." But she shakes her head and mouths back, "We did it." The full circle. After the party, as they clean up, Diva finds a gift she hadn't noticed before. It's from the hospital staff, a shadow box containing her mother's old nursing pin mounted next to a brand new pin engraved with Head of Maternity Nursing, Diva Rodriguez. The card reads, "From one generation of healers to the next. Your mother's legacy lives on through you and now through Wyrachel. With love and admiration, your hospital family." Diva hangs the shadow box in the nursery, right above the bookshelf Joel built with her father's tools. Past and present, loss and love, grief and joy, all existing together in this room where her son sleeps. The promise. That night, after Wyrachel is asleep, Diva and Joel sit on the balcony of their small apartment, looking at the stars. "I used to think that losing my parents left a hole that could never be filled," Diva says quietly. "And in some ways it hasn't been filled. I still miss them every single day. But," she pauses, searching for words, "but I've realized that grief and joy can exist in the same heart. I can miss them and be happy. I can wish they were here and be grateful for what I have." Joel takes her hand. "They're here. In every choice you make, every value you teach Wyrachel, every patient you care for with compassion. Your parents didn't just give you life, they gave you a blueprint for how to live it with purpose and love." Diva leans her head on Joel's shoulder. "I'm going to tell Wyrachel about them every day. Every single day he'll hear a story about his grandparents. He'll know their names, their laughter, their strength. Death took them from this world, but it won't take them from our family." Looking forward. The film closes with a scene set several months later. Diva is in the maternity ward, now in her new role as head nurse. She's implementing a new program to support young mothers, especially those without family support, a program she's named the Legacy Initiative, after her parents. Rosa is now a full nurse, working under Diva's leadership. Mrs. Chen volunteers in the maternity ward, rocking babies whose mothers need rest. Joel works down the hall in surgery, and they meet for lunch in the cafeteria when their schedules align. And Wyrachel? He's in the hospital daycare, surrounded by love and laughter, occasionally visiting his mother's ward where the staff spoils him. The final shot is of Diva holding a newborn baby, placing him in his mother's arms for the first time. The new mother looks frightened and overwhelmed, and Diva smiles with understanding. "You're going to be wonderful," Diva says. "I know because my mother was a nurse too. She taught me that love is the greatest medicine, and you already have that in abundance." As the camera pulls back, we see Diva through the nursery window. A nurse, a wife, a mother, a daughter honoring her parents' memory, a woman who turned grief into purpose and loss into legacy.